Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault.
And I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, on the eve of an unusual transfer of power.
We did what we came here to do, and so much more.
Donald Trump leaves a final message.
Joe Biden signals his priority, COVID-19.
Remember all whom we lost.
We'll talk with someone who knows him well.
He is a very conciliatory person. He believes there is common ground.
Also tonight,
I'd be up that guy's yin yang so far with a firecracker he wouldn't know what hit him from Pfizer.
Pfizer says to Canada, no vaccine doses next week.
And the impact of COVID on young players.
It's what I go to bed thinking about. It's what I wake up thinking about. It's very stressful.
Trying to hang on to a hockey dream. This is The National. Donald Trump's residency in that famous U.S. House is down to its final hours now. He arrived there 4 years ago, speaking of American carnage. Tomorrow, he will leave a city patrolled by U.S. troops. His successor, the type of establishment insider he railed so hard against. For many Americans, Joe Biden represents a return to stability, even sanity, after a failed political experiment.
But tens of millions of Trump supporters will miss his blunt speech and renegade approach. Katie Simpson starts her coverage tonight with the outgoing president's somewhat understated final day.
Thousands of troops patrolling the Capitol during the final hours of Donald Trump's presidency. Images that will shape his legacy, marking the end of one of the most tumultuous terms in U.S. history. Trump spent his last days in office hidden from the public, reportedly bitter his efforts to hold on to power did not work, lamenting his departure in a new video produced and recorded by his staff.
Now, as I prepare to hand power over to a new administration at noon on Wednesday, I want you to know that the movement we started is only just beginning.
Trump did not mention Joe Biden by name, nor did he admit his claims of widespread voter fraud are untrue, despite pleas to do so by members of his own party.
I do believe that it's important for us, as Republicans in particular, to point out that the big lie is simply that, a lie.
Senators will determine Trump's political future as they prepare to serve as jurors at his impending impeachment trial. Once powerful allies appear to be severing ties in light of the deadly Capitol riot.
The mob was fed lies. They were provoked by the president and other powerful people.
There are fears there may be lingering sympathy for that mob among members of the National Guard working inauguration. A dozen soldiers have already been sent home, at least 2 of them, for allegedly making inappropriate, possibly even extremist statements.
With respect to comments about extremism, let me be clear. Extremism is not tolerated in any branch of the United States military.
All Americans were horrified by the assault on our Capitol.
Trump used his farewell address to condemn political violence, but expressed no remorse for any role he may have played.
As I conclude my term as the 45th President of the United States, I stand before you truly proud of what we have achieved together.
And so, Katie, the president is going to take one more shot at saying goodbye tomorrow. What are we expecting?
Andrew, the White House has planned a military-style send-off. The president will speak at Joint Base Andrews. There'll be a military band. There'll be troops at a red carpet departure. What might stand out most about tomorrow, though, is who is not in attendance. High-profile former aides have declined invitations, as has the vice president. Mike Pence is reportedly furious with Trump about the riot and some high-profile public criticism. His schedule says he'll be attending Joe Biden's inauguration tomorrow instead.
Okay, we'll be watching. Katie Simpson in Washington tonight. Thanks.
Now, Donald Trump won't be the only one missing Joe Biden's inauguration tomorrow. Due to COVID-19 and security concerns, of course, Americans are being asked to watch from home, but the space they would have occupied won't be empty. This massive field of American flags now adorns the National Mall, some 200,000 in all, on the eve of the historic handover. Susan Ormiston takes us through Joe Biden's day.
On the eve of Joe Biden's big day, the soon-to-be 46th president was focused not on a militarized Washington, but instead on a national crisis, the pandemic.
Between sundown and dusk, let us shine the lights in the darkness along the sacred pool of reflection. Remember all whom we lost.
Biden devoted his first official inaugural event tonight to honor the more than 400,000 Americans who died in less than 1 year. At the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, one light for every 1,000 who died, a grim tally steeply rising still.
For many months, we have grieved by ourselves. Tonight, we grieve and begin healing together.
With Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, they are demonstrating again that COVID and the economic devastation it's caused is their #1 priority. Biden has promised 100 million vaccine shots in his first 100 days after a dismal rollout in this country.
To heal, we must remember. It's hard sometimes to remember.
Amazing grace.
Earlier, Biden, who was a political son of Delaware as a senator for 36 years, left his home state with the magnitude of the moment and the next 24 hours clearly catching up with him.
It's kind of emotional for me. I know these are dark times, but there's always light. That's what makes this state so special. That's what it taught me.
Joe Biden will speak tomorrow on the Hill about unifying this country. Many new presidents do, but with the bitter election and the even angrier response, his words will carry more resonance. I was up on Capitol Hill in the stands this afternoon as they were preparing, and the contrast was stark with the sun shining on the building compared to just 2 weeks ago. Rioters were pelling up its sides and breaking windows just to get in. Very soon, Joe Biden will have his moment to try to shift the mood in this country, and expect to hear much more of that tomorrow. Susan Ormison, CBC News, Washington.
And we will have more from the U.S. later in the show, including healing the deep divisions.
Anybody who thinks that Wednesday, January 20th, will be a kumbaya moment is absolutely fooling themselves.
How hyper-partisan politics are pulling families apart. And what kind of leader will Joe Biden be? We will speak with someone who has worked closely with him.
But now let's turn to this country and COVID. Every province has been working to ramp up the pace of vaccination, but Canada's supply is about to hit a wall. Now, Pfizer had already signaled it was reducing deliveries. Only about 170,000 doses are coming this week, less than expected. But next week, Canada gets 0. And with no Moderna vaccine expected until next month, that's a problem, because overall, provinces have administered most of the vaccine that they have on hand. Those 170,000 doses aren't enough to keep up with demand. And as David Cochrane explains, that has left officials scrambling to manage supply.
These doses are already in short supply, but next week it gets even worse.
Next week's deliveries have been deferred by Pfizer in their entirety.
By deferred, he means canceled. Canada won't receive a single dose from Pfizer during the week of January 25th. That follows an 18% reduction this week, with smaller than expected shipments to come in early February.
I spent the weekend on the phone with Pfizer executives and my team. We reiterated firmly the importance for Canada to return to our regular delivery schedule as soon as possible.
The reductions are the result of work to expand production at this Pfizer plant in Belgium. Several European countries have also been hit with delays, but only for a single week. Canada's supply is being disrupted for a full 4 weeks.
We'll have to adjust accordingly, and every time we get news that we're getting less vaccine, that news is obviously disappointing.
I'd be on that phone call every single day. I'd be up that guy's yin-yang so far with a firecracker he wouldn't know what hit him from Pfizer. I would not stop until we get these vaccines.
The assurance is that Canada will get back on track when the Pfizer plant gets back online.
The companies are respecting the contracts that we've signed.
And Trudeau says these doses are merely delayed, not canceled.
With every Canadian who wants to get vaccinated able to get vaccinated by September.
Okay, so David, help us understand one thing here. The PM says Pfizer is respecting its contracts. How can that be if they aren't making deliveries?
Yeah, so the contract says that Pfizer has to deliver 4 million doses to Canada by the end of March. It does not say specific doses in specific weeks. So deliveries are going to have to ramp up quite considerably after about the mid part of February. But if they can get 4 million doses here by the end of the first quarter, they live up to the terms of the contract.
So then bottom line, what is the impact of this break in supply?
Yeah, so this supply interruption is going to be a pretty significant disruption, at least in the short term. The bottom line is that this is about 570,000 fewer doses over the next 4 weeks, and that's going to force health authorities to cancel or delay vaccination appointments for people like frontline healthcare workers and vulnerable Canadians like people who live in long-term care. So this is particularly bad news at a particularly bad time.
Okay, David Cochrane, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And there is another concern when it comes to COVID-19 vaccines. As Lauren Pelly tells us, it's about whether the ones we've started giving out will still be effective in fighting the new variants that are emerging.
Every day as people work, mingle, and travel, the coronavirus finds new hosts, giving it more and more opportunities to replicate and evolve.
You may get to the point where you have a variant that's capable of evading vaccine-induced immunity completely.
Scientists say it's crucial to curb transmission using current vaccines and public health measures, giving the virus fewer opportunities to mutate. But that's proving tricky with more transmissible variants spreading fast.
The odds of someone getting exposed and then getting infected is starting to go up and up and up.
Brazil is battling two troubling variants that could be contributing to a surge in cases there, while South Africa is grappling with one of its own. In some cases, these variants seem capable of reinfecting people who previously had COVID-19.
It seems like the virus has found a way to escape from previous antibodies.
Right now, Canadian public health officials estimate you'd need to vaccinate at least 60% of the population to achieve herd immunity.
If you had virus variants that are more transmissible, you may actually have to have more vaccine coverage to achieve population immunity.
And if a variant does emerge that evades our current vaccines, scientists would need to pivot fast. But researchers say it can be done thanks to modern vaccine technology.
The mRNA vaccines actually could be changed relatively rapidly if we were to see variants arise.
There are also vaccines being developed to provide a broader immune response with mutations in mind.
Still, countries like Canada are trying to vaccinate as many people as possible so new variants don't derail all those efforts and drag this pandemic on even longer. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, as concerns about vaccines grow, so do concerns for getting them to vulnerable populations. And that includes people experiencing homelessness. Alison Northcott shows us how 2 cities are trying to meet that challenge.
In Montreal's Old Port, this space has been transformed into a drop-in center for people experiencing homelessness. And today, it's where some got their first dose of the vaccine.
They're among the most vulnerable people in society. That is a good enough reason.
Mark Paquette says he's been worried about catching the virus.
Because I'm homeless, and the fact that other people may have it and you don't even know about it.
So getting that first dose was reassuring. Montreal has prioritized about 500 doses for people who are homeless and some shelter staff after a number of outbreaks.
They move around, so they're mobile. They don't have any place where they can go and self-isolate.
Sam Watts runs a downtown shelter and says the pandemic adds a layer of complexity to homelessness. He says the recent case of Raphael Andre, a homeless man found dead in a portable toilet, underscores the system's failures. In Toronto, there's a similar pilot project, beginning with vaccinations for about 80 people at a shelter.
The risk of complications is high.
Dr. Stephen Huang says that's in part because of the number of seniors in the shelter system.
We also know that people who are homeless have a much higher rate of chronic health conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes.
He says there will be challenges like bringing people back for the second dose and overcoming the mistrust some have in the healthcare system. Tanya Martin has been using a shelter in Montreal and got her shot yesterday.
It's good because we're basically 35 women crammed into one house, so we're all close proximities.
It's good that we're getting vaccinated, and it's positive to me. I'm hopeful about it.
Montreal's plan only covers a fraction of the city's homeless population, but advocates hope it's just a start. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
And Quebec's premier is putting some pressure on Ottawa, demanding tighter travel restrictions for those vacationing abroad.
My request today is to stop those flights that are non-essential coming from outside of Canada. In the meantime, we're asking for a better follow-up for the quarantine.
François Legault says he is worried about the new COVID-19 variants and says Ottawa has been dragging its feet for too long. For his part, the Prime Minister urged Canadians to cancel any international trips and warned that new border restrictions could be imposed at any moment. Now, an update to a story we told you about earlier this month. Some Canadian snowbirds are getting the COVID vaccine faster in Florida than at home, faster even than some full-time Florida residents. As Diane Buckner tells us, the backlash has made national news in the U.S.
Good morning, America. Breaking overnight.
People across America, even from Canada and Argentina, flocking to Florida.
It's been headline news in the U.S., growing anger over non-residents, like Canadian snowbirds, getting the vaccine in Florida, where anyone over age 65 is eligible.
Floridians should be first.
We've been married almost 40 years, and I haven't been in this for 40 years. To lose him now to somebody from out of state that took his vaccine.
There are even reports of Canadians jetting down for a short stay just to get the vaccine.
I think that's for the few and select group that could A, afford it, and B, would be able to make it happen.
What in God's name is wrong with people?
This Canadian has lived in the States for 25 years. She's outraged that people from her home country are traveling at all.
It just seems morally wrong. I mean, there's so little vaccine. So little at this point.
Some officials are upset too.
Today, I presented a resolution to the City Commission to prevent non-residents of the City of Miami from receiving vaccines prior to the elderly and vulnerable population of our community.
Andrew Patton and his wife Jill of Toronto spent half the year at their winter home in Palm City. They got the shot last week.
My friends, my American friends, are absolutely ecstatic that we're getting it, because then we're going to protect them as well as ourselves.
Shelton Papel of Brantford, Ontario, is scheduled for his shot in Florida next week. He thinks the backlash will blow over quickly.
I think as things go along, the more and more people get vaccinated, I think that becomes a duller story.
Florida's governor says tourism is critical for its economy, and that's why extra doses of the COVID vaccine have been requested for seasonal residents. But until those doses arrive, the controversy and the complaints could get louder. Diane Buckner, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, as the global death toll surges past 2 million and confirmed cases rapidly approach 100 million, the World Health Organization has put out a report on what we've learned from this pandemic. And as you'll hear from Christine Birak, it isn't flattering, neither for the WHO itself nor for many countries, including Canada.
In the midst of a pandemic still spiraling out of control, independent experts say global failures got us here, but there's a way out.
We are not here to assign blame, but rather to assess what could be improved in the future.
An interim report says the world was not prepared and needs a better pandemic alert system. Yes, China wasn't transparent enough, and the World Health Organization should have declared a pandemic sooner. But most countries, including Canada, didn't take warning seriously enough either.
We're, of course, looking very carefully at this interim report.
Scientists point out viruses move in minutes and hours, not days and weeks. Reports of human-to-human transmission should have prompted countries to close borders and start social distancing and the wearing of cloth masks.
The fire alarm goes off,
and you're wondering, should I go out? Is it a drill? Is there a real fire? I think that when things happen, we need to move fast.
Global health experts had been warning governments of a pandemic just like this one. But instead of preparing, politicians cut public health budgets, making it difficult to detect threats, clearly communicate with Canadians, and mobilize a response.
I think the reality is every political leader in the world was just hoping that the next pandemic wouldn't happen on their watch. The results, deadly consequences.
Leaders now say they're listening.
Obviously, there are things looking back that we could have, should have done differently. And I think one of the most important things as we move forward is making sure that we learn from this experience.
For so many, it's too late. But experts warn the rollout of vaccines will be the next test. If countries don't work together, the virus will continue taking lives, and this pandemic will last longer than it has to. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
On the eve of Joe Biden's historic inauguration, the hopes and fears of regular Americans.
Our hope is, after the inauguration, that some semblance of sanity will return.
How small business owners are doing their part for a seamless transition of power. Plus,
across Canada, workplace reporting is not being done nearly enough.
The debate over naming companies with COVID outbreaks. And this.
Mad ethnic right now. I get it how I live it. I live it how I get it.
A Canadian figure skater pushes boundaries and the internet falls in love. We are back in 2.
The London, Ontario neonatal nurse who defied travel restrictions to appear at a Washington anti-lockdown rally has been fired. Kristen Nagel had already been suspended since November after organizing a protest that month in London. Earlier this month, Nagel was pictured in Washington hours before the violence at the Capitol. The College of Nurses of Ontario is also investigating. COVID outbreaks that happen in workplaces are now public information in Toronto, from the type of industry involved right down to the names of the companies themselves. But that kind of data isn't uniformly available across the country. And as Aaron Saltzman tells us, some question whether it should be.
Sofina Foods, the name behind high-profile brands like Lilydale and James. It's had at least 3 separate COVID-19 outbreaks in 3 different plants in 2 different provinces. The fact we know this is actually unusual.
Across Canada, workplace reporting is not being done nearly enough.
Disease outbreaks in workplaces are normally only disclosed if there is a significant risk to public health. Many say that should change during COVID-19. Right now, only Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, BC, and Alberta actually name workplaces where there have been COVID-19 outbreaks. Quebec says nearly half its cases can be traced to work, but it doesn't say where. PEI, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Ontario don't appear to publicize any information about workplaces at all.
Transparency is important. Transparency helps to inform the public and in turn inform behavior.
Toronto says publicizing information will lead to more testing and better safety practices. Others aren't so sure.
My concern is always that we don't make that mistake of equating shaming with accountability. It's not the same thing.
The union at Sofina says what's really needed are increased inspections and enforcement.
The naming and shaming or putting the names on a website has not really been enough. It is something, but it's not enough.
Sofina wouldn't say how many employees were affected in its outbreaks, but in a statement the company did outline nearly a dozen different prevention measures, saying they had been in place as early as the end of February 2020. Yet the virus still found a way in. The question is, how often is that happening in other workplaces, and will naming them ultimately help curb the spread? Aaron Saltzman, CBC News, Toronto.
Next, we head back to Washington, hours before Joe Biden officially becomes the President of the United States.
I am proud to be a son of Delaware.
We learn more about his character and his leadership style from someone who worked very closely with him. Welcome back. Joe Biden is among the most experienced politicians ever elected president, but there's still some questions about how he works, what to expect, what this country needs to know. So we turn to a trusted colleague of Biden's, Patty Solis-Doyle. She was his chief of campaign staff in a previous run for office, and she knows him well, his motivations, his instincts, and how he will react to Donald Trump's decision to skip all the traditional events of Inauguration Day and leave D.C. early. There probably won't be a letter. There won't be the exchange of coffee and a tour through the White House. There won't be the ride up to Capitol Hill. How will that go down in the Biden household?
These are important traditions in the United States, and it sends a message that we are a country that is a democracy, that we are a country that has fair and free elections, and that we are a country that has a peaceful transfer of power. And those messages are extremely important to the Bidens, all of them. You know, he is a patriot, first and foremost. I bet it's not going down well, but I also believe that he's not going to spend too much time thinking about it because he's got a lot of work to do.
Talk to us about his habits, because I don't think that's clear to us. Is he a night owl? Is he a morning person?
He is not a night owl. He wakes early in the morning. He does his work. For him, it is very important to be able to spend time with family. I think it's going to be made infinitely easier to be able to live above the shop, so to speak, as Obama used to say. It was easy for him to go to dinner with his kids and then come back to work. I think you'll see a lot of that of Joe Biden.
Do you have a sense of whether he believes in a style that leans more towards an Obama, again, a conciliation approach, or more towards a hard Roosevelt approach? Do you have a sense of which way he leans?
Yeah, so he is a creature of the Senate, right? He spent decades and decades in the Senate, and he learned how to work with people that he disagrees with, working across not just party aisles, but sometimes with people that he significantly disagrees with on ideology or policy. He is a very conciliatory person. He believes there is common ground. And so I think you will see a lot of that in his presidency. In order to get things done, he's going to have to compromise. But I would say there is a fracturing between the far left of our party and what is the more moderate part of the Democratic Party. And I think that he is going to have to give the left wing of the party some of the things that he promised on the campaign trail. And the Keystone Pipeline probably falls within that.
There are a lot of people in Canada who thought that they had just been punched in the face by Joe Biden, and that it was a signal that, okay, this is going to be tough. They do wonder what on earth is coming next. So help us out here. What should Canada expect from this presidency?
I think what Canada can expect is a much more predictable presidency with Joe Biden. And I think in Tony Blinken, you have a Secretary of State, someone who is very, very close to the president. And when he speaks, will be speaking for President Biden. And so I think, again, predictability, traditional, conventional, and much more engagement from the U.S.
But still in a mode of protecting American jobs.
Yes, because of our economic crisis and our historic unemployment. But that's just one focus. I think there will be a lot of, not just unilaterally, but bilaterally, a focus on re-engagement across the world.
What are the things that are rattling around for you?
I worry, obviously, I don't think we have ever been in this kind of position where there are multiple crises on multiple fronts, not just domestically, but internationally as well. And that is a lot. And I worry for anyone who would be in that position.
So there is a lot riding on Joe Biden's first 100 days in office, and there are already some challenges. For one thing, a Senate potentially preoccupied by Donald Trump's impeachment trial. He needs them to confirm his cabinet so he can push forward with his priorities. So here's a look at some of those. The Biden-Harris administration plans to reverse several Trump decisions right away. So that means rejoining the WHO and the Paris Climate Accord, as well as ending current restrictions banning travelers from some Muslim-majority countries from going to or immigrating to the United States. They are also committing to ending family separation at the U.S.-Mexico border. Rolling back Trump's anti-immigration policies has been a particular priority for Kamala Harris. And when it comes to that border wall, it won't come down, but further construction will reportedly be stopped. And then there's the pandemic. Last week, Biden unveiled his government's $1.9 trillion COVID rescue package. It's aimed at economic relief and a massive vaccination effort with the goal of 100 million shots by the end of his first 100 days.
And we will have more on the historic transfer of power and the deep political divisions facing Joe Biden on day one.
We can see that it's taking a toll in terms of ruptures in relationships.
How those divisions hit close to home for some American families. That's coming up. But first, a grim milestone being marked at monuments and buildings across the United States. The country reaching more than 400,000 deaths from COVID-19. Earlier, Joe Biden paid tribute at the Lincoln Memorial, and there were similar memorials in cities across the U.S., like this one in New York City. The Empire State Building lit up red, flashing to signify a beating heart. Joe Biden says he wants to unite America, but the chasm between Republicans and Democrats these days often feels like two alternate realities with little agreement, even when it comes to basic facts. The anger and division runs deep. And as David Common explains, it often runs right through families.
The divisions in American society are stark, spilling into the streets with anger and violence. Sometimes, though, the opposing sides are inside families. Marriages collapsing, families dividing. Even this, you are no longer my mother.
They don't think Joe Biden won fairly. Right. They think the election's been stolen.
Yes.
Imagine what it's like being Steve Nardi, chair of the Democrats abroad in Canada, but from a family full of Trump supporting Republicans.
Well, my mother will say to me, I don't know how I got a son who's a Democrat.
They still talk, mind you, though toughest is his dad, a Silver Star awarded Vietnam vet who has established a truce with his son. No politics talk, not ever.
What do you think the hardest part about it is?
Well, that we can't have a conversation over the issues facing America and the American people.
Steve does still chat politics with his cousin Julie, a New Jersey Republican who knows those awkward family moments.
The moments of silence at times on certain topics.
Hi.
Sorry, Julie, this is David.
Hi, David. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, good. Hey, Julie, how do you feel that this guy here, your cousin, is wearing a Biden button and campaigns for him?
Well, you know, he won, so more power to him.
Do you worry, Julie, about, families that basically can't have the conversation you're having right now with Steve?
Yes. It is very concerning. I actually have the same issue with my own husband. My own husband is a Democrat. And a lot of times, especially during the election, it was we couldn't speak about it.
This is a crisis, really.
Tanya Israel has become the go-to person on bridging politically divided families, writing a book on it, and she says she's seen a rupture in relationships from all the political stress.
President-elect Biden is calling for unity, and people are really struggling with that because they're having trouble seeing how they can find common ground with people who have such a different view than they do.
The Trump campaign has submitted explosive evidence of voter fraud.
There is no widespread fraud.
Of course, there often aren't even commonly agreed upon facts, two sides hearing completely different stories. But Israel says there are more in the middle than we sometimes think.
We tend to overestimate the distance between our own views and those of people who we consider to be on the other side. And we tend to focus more on people who are on the extremes. Most people are not political extremists.
Yet we are bombarded by them. So much, perhaps, there is actually agreement on something in the U.S. 4 out of 5 Americans saying the country is falling apart. Joe Biden, now striving for unity, has his work cut out for him.
Anybody who thinks that Wednesday, January 20th, will be a kumbaya moment is absolutely fooling themselves. It's the start of a journey of healing.
I'm going to let you go.
Steve does not think it'll be easy, but he is optimistic. The tone, he says, starts from the top down to the Zoom calls between families.
All right, Jules, take care. Talk soon. Bye.
David Common, CBC News, Mississauga, Ontario.
As Americans have seen too often, when political anger and division spills into the streets, the results can be deadly. And for small businesses already hit hard by the pandemic, the violence isn't just frightening, it can be a threat to their very survival.
I'm the owner of the Curious Bookshop and the Archives Bookshop in East Lansing, Michigan. Ray Walsh. We're not far away from the state capitol. Being here on January 6th was scary because we didn't know what was going on with the violence at the Capitol, and information was sketchy. The effect on our staff has been nerve-wracking and demoralizing. Some measures that we have taken is to keep an eye out for protesters and hope that things will get better in the future. Our hope is, after the inauguration, that some semblance of sanity will return.
My name's Chef Spike. We're here at We the Pizza in DC, right by the Capitol. We are a family-run pizzeria, and we are a stone throws away from the U.S. Capitol. Being here on January 6th, we had to shut down and close our businesses once again and stay safe. The threat of these riots have really affected us, not only because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but it's just, adding fuel to the fire. We're a bunch of small businesses over here on Capitol Hill. We're trying to survive. We're trying to make a living for our families. we've been able to defeat the troops that are guarding the Capitol after the events on January 6th. People are actually buying pizza for the troops. We have over 1,200 orders of pizzas, and we're going to continuously donate pizzas to the Capitol during this inauguration. The hopes after this inauguration is that we really start to come together as a country. We start to work together on the issues that we need to resolve, and that we make sure that we get over this pandemic and to get our lives back.
My name is Joe Falacci. I own a small salmon shop down here in Phoenix, Arizona that I've had for 35 years. I'm about 4 blocks from the Arizona Capitol. Being here on January 6th was a real tough day for us. With the lockdowns from COVID, thinking that with the election things were going to change, be a little bit more mellow. All the employees for the state were sent home, so again, another day of no business. I'm hoping that after the inauguration, everything gets more peaceful and people come together. Hope the vaccine starts to roll out better and kids get back to school, we get our businesses going, and we get our country back the way it was, a year or so ago when everything was booming and everything was exciting and everybody seemed to get along.
And CBC will have full coverage of the inauguration Wednesday. I'll be hosting a CBC News Live special. Our coverage gets underway at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on CBC TV, CBC News Network, and CBC Gem.
And coming up, no fans in the stands, but also no scouts.
It's something I've worked for 16 years, and it's all kind of led up to this point.
How COVID is stalling some hockey careers. Plus,
he's amazing. A Montreal figure skater finds viral fame and an opportunity to change the sport.
A court in Thailand has sentenced a former civil servant to more than 43 years in jail for sharing online posts critical of the country's royal family. Lawyers say it's the longest sentence yet for violating Thailand's notoriously harsh law forbidding any insult to the monarchy. The ruling comes at a time of unprecedented protest in the country. Yikes, pretty scary scene in Japan today. After a snowstorm led to a massive pileup north of Tokyo. Authorities say more than 130 vehicles were involved and at least one person was killed, with more than a dozen others injured. Several parts of northern Japan have been hit by severe snowstorms in recent weeks. And Japanese officials are eyeing the use of robots to speed up COVID-19 testing ahead of the Olympics. These arms can take a sample from a person's nose and deliver test results in about 80 minutes. We're less than 200 days away from the start of the Summer Olympics, and the pressure is on to get the pandemic under control if the games are to go ahead. Now, here in Canada, a lot of young hockey players say they are feeling shut out. The NHL season may be underway, but for most Canadians, organized hockey is still off the ice. And as Cameron McIntosh reports, some of them are now worried that COVID might cost them their big shot.
Here's Kagan near side, moves in, fires, score! Josh Kagan was hoping for another season of this. Kagan to the goal, forehand! Trying to get noticed in the Junior A British Columbia Hockey League.
How's practice? It's okay.
It's going more like this. Video calls with his parents in Winnipeg.
A lot of missing the net. Definitely a little out of shape.
Trying to keep his spirits up as COVID keeps his league off the ice.
How stressful is this for your family, like when you guys talk?
It's been really hard. You're trying to read between the tea leaves all the time because you got a kid that's 2,000 miles away who's not going to tell you honestly how he feels, but you can sort of hear it in his voice.
It's extremely frustrating. I mean, it's mentally very difficult to grasp.
As a 20-year-old in his final year of junior hockey, he's missing his last shot at a scholarship.
It's something I've worked for 16 years, and it's all kind of led up to this point.
Not everyone is playing for those stakes, but there are concerns down to the youngest levels of hockey. A Hockey Canada survey found 45% of parents worried about their kids' mental health.
Having that identity kind of taken away can really be a struggle.
Sports psychologist Melanie Gregg says even for recreational athletes, missing time in a sport can be isolating.
I think it's really important to keep that in mind, that everyone's in the same situation as far as lacking those sport opportunities, those competitive opportunities this year.
Goalie Jordan Naylor is another junior player grappling with the notion this could be it.
It's what I go to bed thinking about. It's what I wake up thinking about. It's very stressful.
The Kagans are pushing Hockey Canada to extend eligibility to make sure no last chances are lost.
Everybody that controls the situation is saying, well, we hope things will get better. At some point, you got to leave hope aside and come up with a plan.
Hockey Canada hasn't responded to that, but is urging hockey leagues across the country to do what they can to keep players engaged. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And next on The National, a professional figure skater goes viral.
I truly, deeply connect with the artistic side of the sport.
The story behind his unconventional style next in our moment. Elad Valdez spent years training as a competitive skater, but he never fully felt like he belonged. He retired 2 years ago, and now he's putting a brand new spin on the sport. So he has created some unconventional skating routines, posting them online. He's now getting a lot of attention. The story behind his style is tonight's moment.
Right now, that I've retired from competition, I'm diving deeper into exploring what it looks like for me to be an artist, a performer. I really connect with obviously the technical side of the sport, but I truly deeply connect with the artistic side of the sport. And it's a beautiful sport because it has that balance. That's what I want to do, is I want to share that accessibility to artistry that we sometimes forget. The first time I saw a black skater skating in front of me, Maxime Billy-Fortin from Quebec, and it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. It shifted my perspective on what figure skating could look like. Fell in love with his style, and from that moment on, I had decided that I was gonna create my own style.
Oh man, that's
he's very talented.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I can't say that I'm a huge fan or aficionado of figure skating, but if it was more like that, I think I might pay attention.
Well, what he's been telling people is that he says, look, it's time. The figure skating had a change in the culture and the music and the people. And he's very clearly onto something, right? So there's like 16 million views on TikTok, 13 million on Instagram.
Wow.
Something's clicked, and
well,
it's great for him.
He looks like he's having fun, which is the most important part.
Absolutely. That is the National for January 19th.
Good night.